Good evening, everybody. I'm Grim Reaper, and tonight we do not have, I almost said his real name. We do not have Cynical Squid with us tonight. Instead, it'll just be me and Perry the Pig.
Welcome, welcome.
And tonight on the screen, we also have Zakkar with us. How are you doing, Zakkar?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Doing
excellent so far. We're starting a little bit late here, but we had a lot of fun in Twitch chat just a moment ago. So I might be posting some clips of our DJ session to YouTube or something. We'll see how that turns out.
That'll be
So
awesome.
we actually spent a little bit of time going over the YouTube of Zakkar because we wanted to make sure that we had the right context for the kinds of stuff you've done in the past. So Zakkar, I got to ask you, if people see you like lurking in Twitch chat or putting out YouTube content, or they see you even streaming, what should people expect from you? What's the kind of stuff that you do in Last Epoch?
Um, Really, I'm just always experimenting and like toying with things. I like to find weird interactions, whether or not they're useful. Um, Bugs, whatever it may be. I come from like a QA programming background. I really like digging in and finding some weird interactions, or potentially a bug I can abuse for a little bit. I don't usually make build guide videos on those, but if there's anything that I can find that's interesting, try to like let that be known. I think one of the first things that I found when I was playing was the permataunt with Dread Shade on Bone Prison, and using that because one of the it still is one of the minions. I think besides Abomination, um, and yeah, pretty much what you'll see me doing. If Necro gets some changes, I'll probably be playing Necro a lot. But yeah, now
So I just gotta say, like, as soon as you start bringing that up, the first thing that I ever knew you for was a an abomination build, and I don't mean abomination in a bad way. I mean like the skill abomination, right?
yeah.
What was that build all about?
Well, Abomination was a skill that was kind of like DOA. It came and people looked at it and they're like, "Oh, this is cool. This is gonna be such an awesome skill. I can't wait to use it." And then it was released and everyone messed with it and they're like, "This is the shittiest skill ever. I'm never gonna use this." And so I played with it, and I had been Bone Prison was kind of like a subset in in Bone Curse sub skill or whatever. And a lot of people kind of just forgot about it. So I ended up using Bone Prison as the minions that I consumed for Abomination. End up making it like tankier because it takes the HP of the minion. And Bone Prison is like the highest flat HP you can get on. So it made it super tanky, and then you got a bunch of minions all at once. Made it super strong. So like the first iteration of the Abomination build was it was a good bosser. AI sucked, slow. It's a necro, but like it did a lot of damage. So that was the deal. Then some bugs came around. People found out there was things that you could abuse to make it even crazier. And yeah, kind of how it spiraled out of hand from there. People abused those bugs. They got patched right away. Probably the quickest I've ever seen EHP act on a bug. It was so fast. Killing yourself over and over again to spawn a race, unlimited race that you could just.
Wait, sorry, what? Killing yourself over and over to summon rates?
Yeah, there used to be a bug if you had health on kill idle, one health on kill idle, and you had Orb of Decay on, you could kill yourself over and over again. And there was a node, and whenever you killed something, you spawned a wraith. You had a percent chance to spawn. So you just sit there killing yourself over and over again at end of time, while holding or auto pressing your abominations. You like wait for like 3 minutes.
I love the context that you've already provided, just saying that you come from a QA background. I feel like when I play a game, my first thought isn't like what can I gain when I kill myself, and then how can I kill myself more? But like, is this the
Yeah,
same
I didn't
approach
come
that you
up with
take
that.
okay, someone else came up with that. All right.
Someone else came up with that. It was someone random, and then Boardman ended up doing a video on their on that interaction. I think he ended up using the interaction to make Abomination, but like it was a bug found by someone else, and
Okay,
so
okay.
then it was abused. I didn't find that bug.
I don't want to
Uh,
give you too much credit for having
yeah,
5,000 IQ. Okay.
yeah. I'm not that smart, okay, guys. I find the easy bugs, the ones the surface bugs, the ones that are obvious. Like, hey, this shouldn't work with a throwing skill, and it works. You know, like those are the bugs.
When you
But
say that you come from like a QA background, is that your same approach for like other video games as well, or is that something that like shines in Last Epoch? Like what else have you been doing out there?
Yeah. It started like when I was younger. I used to have like a glitch clan for like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare, and we used to just go around maps and try to find like spots to get outside of maps, on top of maps, skybox, whatever, glitches in general. And there was like a group of us that would just go around and try to do that, and then zombies for Call of Duty started doing Easter egg, so I started getting into like Easter egg finding and doing like I never got like world's first find or world's first solve or whatever, but like I'd be participate in those races and try to find the next clues for these Easter Call of Duty. So yeah, it started off when I just like find interesting things
It's
that
like
broke the game.
what can you blow
Yeah.
up that wasn't supposed to be blown up? I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I
And
guess
so-
with the new patch that we're on right now, so we're currently on what is it, patch 084? We've been here for like just over a month or so. We have like Umbral Blades that has already been patched. We've had the bleed stuff with Thorn Shield and Spriggan form that's already been patched. I feel like we've had a lot of small patches, haven't we?
Yeah, there's been we're on an H. Furthest we've gotten before is like I something.
Interesting. When you say the furthest, I wonder if we can break that. So this patch they're already done with any hot fixes, so they're not gonna make any more changes for 084. But I
Seems
wonder
like
if we can break I. Can we get to J next time?
I don't know what the furthest we've gotten to. Like, I have to go look, but yeah, I think J would be a great place.
What we could do? What if? So here's the plan. We get all the troops on Discord and YouTube and Twitch and all the social media, and we hype up one build at a time, right? Just like one bug, and then they have to fix this one bug, and like as long as we can like stretch it out until J, like we just like we only tell the devs one bug at a time.
Okay.
So we tell them two to patch both at the same time. That's no good.
Okay. I'm sure they have a backlog of bugs that they're like, okay, if there's only one bug for this patch, we have a bunch. But
Is
I don't know how well that'll work out, but
Is there like a long-standing bug that you wish they would fix? Like anything that's like, man, I wish they would have fixed this 2 years ago, but is still in the game?
A-bomb AI.
That's a
It's
feature,
bugged.
I'm pretty sure. That's not a bug, is it? It's
It's
supposed to be big and dumb and hulking around. It's not supposed to be smart.
It's working as intended.
Ain't
I was
that the
told
truth?
by a dev it was a bug, so I'm just assuming at that point.
It reminds me of another joke that I've been making recently. I've been talking to Quiet for Me, who is known as like the Spriggan guy and whatnot, right? And he's been complaining a bit recently about this certain pair of unique boots that got added to the game that make Spriggan just stand still. And he's like, why would you have an action RPG where like you have a pair of boots that makes you stand still? And it's like, Quiet, buddy, it's thematic. You're a tree. You just
To
and
understand
it's thematic for A-bomb to have bad AI. It's this big hulking thing. Like,
Well, mine's a different scenario. Like he absorbs minions that are very smart. I would assume that he absorbs some of that intelligence. I'm his master, and I happen to be very smart. I would assume he would, learn from me in some way. So, to me, it seems like there's no comparison, right?
if Lich can get Reaper form, how come Necromancer can't get A-bomb form? How come
That'd
you
be
can't wrap
awesome.
yourself in the skeletons and become the abomination?
That would be awesome, like a
That would
rumble
be awesome.
kind of.
That
We could,
sounds
like-
like a build that even I would play. Wait, that was actually a good idea. What?
Yeah, let's write that down.
Whoa. Grim, I think the first thing I ever knew about Grim Reaper, don't you like love Abomination? Isn't that like one of your pet builds?
No, I'm not an A-bomb person, but I do play a lot of Necromancer.
Oh,
So
there we
that's-
go. Okay.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people knew me for, because I was playing a lot of Necromancer builds where they're like, yeah, that build's absolutely terrible. Whenever I was doing like the Volatile Zombie with Infernal Shade on it, as Infernal Shade is a damage source, and Infernal Shade was just not good. The dot takes were absolutely terrible on it. And I've tried every conceivable different form. Like I've tried bleeding with it. I've tried making it burn. I've tried taking and making it to where it burns, it explodes, it summons another minion and another minion and another minion. just nothing really worked with the Infernal Shade with it. That was the main thing that everybody knew me for, was playing with Infernal Shade on that. It was just terrible back then. I don't know if it's changed since then, if there's any new ways of getting more DPS out of Infernal Shade now. But hopefully with Warlock, whenever that comes out, hopefully that fixes the whole Infernal Shade problem.
Quite the opposite.
Go ahead.
Grim. Quite the opposite, Grim. It has gotten less ways of getting damage. There used to be bugs where you could have infinite duration. Those no longer exist, and that was the only way it could do damage. Was it.
Speaking of bugs, I actually saw something during this weekend tournament, and I had to go verify it for myself before Twitch chat helped me realize that it actually got changed. So at the very beginning of Umbral Blades, which is the new skill that got introduced for Rogue, they had a node that said like, shadows cannot create blade storms. But they were creating blade storms. Like when you would dash, you'd leave a blade storm behind you, and like it looked like that was a bug. So apparently what happened is like the devs saw it, they saw that it looked cool, and like you could, sync strike, dash, have 3 storms behind you, and they're like, yeah, you know what, this wasn't intended, but yeah, you know what, it's a feature. Ta-da! And like that's really cool when I see stuff happen like that. I don't really play games that are in early access too often. I try to play games that are just like full releases, which is why Last Epoch is kind of an outlier for me personally. So I think you've been playing Last Epoch a bit longer than I have. I've been playing for like maybe a year at this point, like maybe just shy of a year. But Zakkar, have you seen like things like that where like they started out as a bug and then the devs just like added in as a feature when people liked it?
Yeah, there's been things in the past. I know there's some things that they've gotten rid of completely for some builds, and some things that left in some way. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what is, that the bug originally. I don't know anything off the top of my head. That was a bug, but I know there have been cases, but there's also been cases.
I think we might have lost your audio. Did your headset still there?
Oh no, sorry. I just ramble sometimes. My bad, and probably just got lower in volume and my noise gate cut off. No, I was gonna say I don't know any instances off the top of my head that were implemented, but I know in the past that it has been before. And then I don't know if there've been some builds that they've like just completely annihilated and been like, nah, we're not gonna let this be in the game, like Rip Blood Bone Curse. So fun.
Wait, Rip Blood Bone isn't Rip Blood Bone Curse currently in the game?
Nah, it used to auto crit and it used to be like really fun. And
that Rip Blood Bone Curse. Gotcha. Okay.
And they removed it. They're like, this is too strong. Can't be doing this. And then Shadow Dagger. It's like, they're like, here you go.
I was gonna say, like, auto critting does seem too strong, Zakkar. Like maybe. Oh wait, Shadow Daggers.
Yeah. It was a fun build. It was really fun. I played it on Necro for the longest time, and then I convinced Mao to play it in a tournament. And I was like, "Play this Lich, you'll make it God tier," and he did. And then they were like, "No fun builds for Mao." And they were so
we have Mao hanging out in chat, having his copium, hoping that the Acolyte rework will still come someday, and we'll see about that.
One day, Lich needs it.
So we have like a little bit of Acolyte, a little bit of Rogue talk that we've had so far. Do you have a favorite class or maybe a favorite mastery that you've been working on? It sounds like Necromancer might just be your jam.
Necromancer is my jam. I do enjoy minion builds. I'm inefficient in some ways and efficient in other ways, probably the ways that most people aren't. I'm very like, I just want to press one button, like watch streams or listen to music or watch a show in the background, and then just farm and grind, and that's it. Like I kind of mind-numbingly just like do something and not have to really worry so I like 1 button, 2 button builds. So usually all my builds kind of like they're pretty easy to play. They're not like too intensive mechanically, and if I see a build that's too like I'll avoid volatile reversal because I have to press another button like next to lunge and whatever my main skill is. I'm just not so
not gonna play the most fun, I guess, subjectively. I think volatile reversal is like one of the most fun skills in the whole game, and you just avoid it because it's an extra button to click.
Yeah,
I love.
Yeah,
All right, I respect it. I respect it. That's good.
but yeah,
So,
currently. Oh, sorry.
Zakar, we haven't asked you this yet, but what I want to know from you is how did you get into Last Epoch in the first place? Because I've seen you quite a few times in like McFluffin's chat. Me and you have always had a pretty good dialogue in there. McFluffin's chatting back and forth along with everybody else in there. But what was it that ultimately got you into Last Epoch in the first place?
What got me in the Last Epoch in the first? Well, it was I think summer of 2020 or something like that, and I like started playing a PoE League, and I was like, bro, I'm not feeling it, but I want to play an ARPG, and so I was just looking for ARPGs to play. I got in like Median XL, and I hate these graphics. Why would anyone ever play a game this ancient? And then I just hopped on. I saw Last Epoch was on sale or something. Uh, Hopped in Twitch, see if anyone's streaming it. Saw Vision, McFluffin streaming it. Started watching those guys. Well, screw it. Let me just buy the game, try it out, and then I got hooked. And then Last
Nice.
Epoch slowly just pulled me in, and then I was like, "Bye, life I used to know." And 1,600 hours later, somewhere else. But yeah,
Awesome.
So long previous games, so long Path of Exile.
yeah.
One of the first things that I realized when I started playing Last Epoch instead of Path of Exile is my wrist hurts a lot less. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just thinking about that right now. Like I got these things. I got like little wrist things that help give me support, and I've got like this whole setup that helps make my wrist feel better. My wrist hasn't hurt in a long time. You know, thinking about the very first time that I started playing Last Epoch instead of Path of Exile, it's like that was a pretty straightforward like physical change to my life. I kind of like it.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely nice when you only have one flask out. Um, I don't. I could never get into really in game in PoE because there was so much complexity behind it, and I just didn't feel like learning it all. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know what the point of any of this is. I just didn't like draw me in. There wasn't. I don't know, but Ellie like did everything. I love it. I love it absolutely.
Is there any like one mechanic or like one build that really sucked you in to Last Epoch? Like you really liked how the loot filter worked, and you really liked how I don't know what was it that really got you into Last Epoch?
It's definitely the skills. I liked how there was kind of like this layout for you that was already presented to you in some way, and then there are different avenues that you can take, and so it allows you to have that complexity where you can kind of like weave through skills or skill trees in various ways that most people may not. At the same time, um, like you have a layout, you have a like that you could follow. It's not this in PoE. It was just like, oh, here's some skill gems. Good luck figuring out like how they all work.
Oh, that wasn't quite a noise gate that time around, but I think we might have lost the connection altogether. We're gonna give a couple seconds here and see if we can get Zakar to join us back. Let's do one of these real quick.
I
Oh, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened. I guess my Discord just decided to auto update or something and was like, "Hey, let's refresh."
Thanks,
Sorry about
Discord. All right, go ahead.
I don't know where I was at, but I liked how there's a blueprint PoE. It's kind of like here's some skill gems. Good luck figuring them out. Like, um, and for me, it seemed like it was a lot harder, like lot larger of a barrier for me to like get into it. And like Ellie's just easy. It's there. Everything that I need to know, I can read, and I can it's right there in front of me, and I can use that knowledge to my. I didn't have to go through these back channels and look at Reddit posts from 2009 explaining in detail like how all these defenses or how this skill interacts with this skill and read a whole encyclopedia.
And sometimes that's fun. I will say, like,
Yeah,
as
it's
somebody who
fun.
played Path of Exile for 10,000 plus hours, it's kind of fun to jump into a game and read encyclopedia and take a 101 level college course just to figure out like there is a part of the brain, and for me and then for other people who like that amount of research. And Last Epoch has some of that, but also a lot of that's just in the game instead of in other resources. Like you can read this, you can read your mastery, you can read the stuff, and like maybe there's one little detail like, you know, shadow daggers are absolutely busted and auto crit and scale off of every single tag and have 450% damage. Like maybe that little one detail. Man. Maybe that one detail is missing, but like for the most part, yeah, I'm with you. I see where you're coming from. We actually have a question that popped up in chat, but I'm gonna tailor it slightly so that you don't need to answer every single mastery. Here's a question for you then. What's your like top 3, maybe like strongest or most fun builds that are in the game right now?
Strongest or most fun builds in the game. A lot of my builds, or a lot of the builds that I play, well, most of them rather, are builds that I make myself. We don't follow other people's builds. Against other people's builds, I just like to find my own solutions to things. But I think I really like the Shadow Dagger play with Flurry and Shadow Dagger Umbral Blade. It was really fun. I actually really enjoyed that. Being at like a constant 130, 40 movements, a little bit addicting, I think. I don't know. That was super fun. I really enjoyed that build. And then my second was Bleed Warpath, the old one. I'm not sure how it performs now. I haven't tried it this patch, but I would like to get to it. And then the third, I have been playing an Electrify build that I've really enjoyed. I'm hoping to get back to
Electrify build, you said? Oh, there goes the noise gate.
Yeah, an Electrify build.
All
Sorry,
right.
let me go ahead and turn it. I'll make it easier.
Oh, we just need more hype on your end. We got to get you more excited so you're louder.
I'm sorry. My bad.
He's like, yeah, it's Electrify. It kind of puts me to sleep. Wait, so Electrify, that's a good one to talk about because Electrify just got added to the game, I think a patch and a half, maybe 2 patches ago, right? Like I haven't really heard of anyone doing much with that. I know you mentioned Vision GL. Vision is the one who runs the weekend tournaments. He did something with the Electrify one-handed sword that lets you like multi-strike plus smite, and he was trying out some stuff there. I think you're the second person maybe ever that I've heard messing around with Electrify. What are you doing with it so far?
Just doing a full dot build. I'm doing essentially what I'm doing with it is have the new unique Tirani's Bullheart. I don't know what it's called, but the new Bident that came out that has the Electrify effect on it and spell damage or smite spell damage per cast or whatever, like cast of Javelin, I believe. I've been doing that, and essentially I use Malin's Hubris to convert all my bleed to ignite, and then I'm just getting bleed and ignite. It gets converted to Electrify for both smite and also Javelin, and then just taking like all the effect that I can within the trees and all the more damage modifiers with the trees to stack. Have the lightning tendrils. Also, you just throw in Javelin, sends a bunch of tendrils as it splits off, causes other smite procs, and then it puts them at I don't know how many stacks at once. You get like 2 4K ticks. Javelin
Off of like one throw.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. Okay, I'll take it.
And then you can lunge from packs, and just like it automatically smites, which does a bunch of. So you can literally just lunge to packs, kill them. Currently, I'm in like 100 corruption. I don't push corruption arena much, but so I don't know how it performs. But yeah, it's really fun. I enjoy it. I just literally dash the pack. It's so fun.
You know, people make fun of lunge for being like kind of a skill that if you don't spec into lunge, you have like 90% of what lunge does. And then if you do spec into it, it's like, well, you're not really gaining that much out of it. But all of a sudden, like if you're actually specking smite and you're specking, you know, like Javelin, and then you have a 2-handed spear, all of a sudden when you lunge into a pack of enemies, you have a lot of stuff that's proccing all of a sudden.
Yep.
That sounds pretty cool. I like it.
It's nice. Yeah. The Javelin procs more smites, so you can get even more just lunging to packs, and so it blows up stuff whenever you lunge. I just find really satisfying just to lunge into a pack and be like, okay, see you later. Nice knowing y'all. And yeah, I've really been enjoying that build. That was the one that I was playing before the Rogue tourney, and I was like, do I want to play the Rogue tourney? And then I was like, yeah, I kind of want to go hard. And then I lost. So everyone's better than me.
Don't worry. I also lost. Didn't even get to do an arena push.
That was so heartbreaking because you got all pumped and you just gotten back from a break. You're like, let's go.
Let's
And
go.
I'm dead. And I was like, what? I like heard and I'm dead. I looked over and I was like, I was the one in shock. I was like, please, no.
All right. So I wanna talk about the Rogue tournament because I know you and I both participate in those. I think you participate like maybe half the time. It doesn't seem like you participate in all of them, right?
Yeah, I play in most of them. Usually start off, and then depending on how I'm feeling, and depending on like what's going in life and how the build that I'm doing is going, I either drop it or I continue to play and go hard. It just depends.
Sure. And then I guess before we jump into talking about that, I know Grim's been busy enough, and he's probably not doing the Rogue tournaments. But Grim, I do want to know what have you been doing in last Epoch? You been playing any games? Or are you still busy traveling the world?
I'm still busy traveling. I won't be back until February 9th. Once I get back February 9th, though, I am going to be working on a build. There is something that I've been pondering for a while, and I'm going to be putting that build together during that time, as well as uploading a bunch of new videos and contents to our channels on both YouTube and Spotify. So all of our old content that was previously on the old channels is going to be on the new channel now for last week of Epoch, and all of the episodes that have not been loaded to Spotify will be uploaded within the first day whenever I get back to Spotify.
I want to say this, and I need to make sure that it doesn't sound passive aggressive. There have been people who pop up on Discord and people who pop up on Twitch and say that they love having this podcast on Spotify. I cannot wait to get the new episodes on Spotify. We're a couple episodes behind. It's okay, because Grim, I know you've been a very busy person recently, but getting the more recent episodes up there as well, I think is gonna be great for the people who do listen to this on their car rides, your train rides, because those have been the places where I listen to podcasts in the past as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Believe me, I know, Perry. I've gotten a few private messages saying, "Hey,
like,
where's the new episodes at? Where's the new episodes at on Spotify, Grim? What's going on?" And I'm like, I am out of town, and I'm the only one that has access to it right now. So as soon as I get back, I will take and get them uploaded. I am so sorry to everybody that has been waiting for them to come out on Spotify so that they can listen to it on the go.
Just stop traveling the world. Just stop doing everything and go get Spotify done.
Yeah, Ellie's all you need. I don't know what you're doing.
All right, so on to the Rogue tournament. I think most people here watching live know what's going on, but they're these weekend tournaments. They're like races, sprints, tournaments, events, community shindigs, whatever you want to call them. But they happen on a weekly basis, and you start a brand new hardcore or softcore solo character, and then you push as far in the arena as you can over like the next 3.5, maybe 4 days or so. So this past weekend was, I think it was my first time ever playing Shadow Daggers, because it was the Blade Dancer tournament. And I kind of want to call it the Umbral Blades tournament, because Umbral Blades just came out, and it was one of the skills that you were allowed to use. So like, why not play with the hot new thing? And it was really, I liked it too. This is like, oh man, I'm not used to having auto crits. I'm not used to having 150 movement speed when I'm running around all the time. It's kind of addicting. I kind of liked it too.
It's really fun. I tried to avoid Shadow Daggers whenever it was initially kind of like a concept. Because it was even more busted. You kind of just shift through maps. Because you would get the effect, and it would cause the number of stacks required to lower. So you can get it up to like 2 or 1 stack eventually, and it'll auto crit every time, every cast pretty much, whenever you did Shadow Cascade or Smoke Bomb. And yeah, it was absurd. And then they got rid of it, and then they were like, you know what? We love absurdity. We love the craziness. Let's just add it back. Can't be that bad. Yeah. And,
like you say that it used to be absurd, and it used to be you could just shift through a map. But for the past couple days, all I've been doing is absurdly shifting through maps. Yeah. It feels like it's the same build.
Yeah, they added it back. They were like, whatever builds you guys liked, maybe we'll start adding them back. So hopefully Bone Curse, Rip Blood, devs.
Yeah, maybe they'll add Bone Curse, Rip Blood auto crits. Why not?
Well, figure it out.
So there's not too much hidden information in Last Epoch, but like sometimes something slips in there where like you get a feeling that it's strong, but if you're not watching YouTube guides, if you're not on Twitch, if you're not in Discord, like if you're not part of a community, it's gonna take you longer to figure out what on earth shadow daggers are and like how they're so busted. They're really cool, and they could be nerfed in any number of ways, but like they're not. They're just busted. They have the throwing tag, the melee tag. They have their own base damage. They scale on the base damage of your weapon. They auto crit every single time. There's like a shadow dagger node in all of your skill trees. They have 450% effectiveness of added damage. Like, it's just, if anything is going to be busted in Last Epoch, it's shadow daggers. Like, it's so strange.
It used to scale with spell too.
Why?
Scale
Rogue doesn't have any spells. Why do you need spell?
I don't know. They released it initially and it had every tag. It was like every tag and it scaled with everything.
What?
So it was absolutely busted. And they're like, you guys wanted procs? How about the proc, the only proc you'll ever need, the proc god. And then every other proc's like, okay, 15-second cooldown. You're gonna do 4 damage at most. That's it.
Well, now, like that's not fair. That's not fair. Now you're just describing the shaman skill tree. I'm just like, here you can spec 15 points into this, and your reward is like 3 damage every 15 seconds. It's pretty good.
I'm gonna laugh when everyone's been asking for a Tempest Strike like rework or like a change, and they just get rid of the skill completely and just add shadow daggers to primal.
Shaman daggers. Shaman daggers.
Yeah, shaman daggers, whatever. Just add it. They're like, here you go. This is what y'all wanted. I know it.
So one of the first types of builds or types of skills that I liked in Last Epoch was like Mana Strike as a spell blade, and I liked how Mana Strike could trigger static, and static triggered what's it called? Lightning Blast, and then like there's spark charges, and I liked having like all these things going together. And they were all kind of procced by me clicking on Mana Strike and hitting an enemy. And I really liked that. I don't know why Shift feels so different. Because Shift can proc Shadow Daggers and Shurikens, and it drops a Shadow, and it can drop an Acid Flask, and it can proc Shadow Cascade, which can proc more Shadow Daggers, and the Shadow can drop Umbral. Like, it's this whole thing, and all you're really doing is clicking Shift. It just doesn't feel the same to me. It doesn't feel as fun. It feels like, I don't know what it feels like.
Yeah, I don't know who designed Shift, but they did a really good job. I feel like.
Is it a good job or bad job?
No, I think it's a good job.
Okay.
I think Shift does a little bit of everything. It gives you utility buffs, gives you procs on various different skills. It has a lot of use. Unlike Line or Transplant or
you don't. Wait, Transplant procs.
I mean, in comparison, they're pale in comparison to Shift.
So do you like movement skills that are tied into everything else? Or would you say that you don't like movement skills that are tied into everything else?
I love skills that are tied into everything, regardless if they're a movement skill or not. I love proc. Because for me, that's one less button that I have to press. Because I can proc it with this one skill.
Okay. I walked right into that. I was gonna ask like, oh, what about these game development decisions and then complexity? It's like, oh no, Zekkar just wants to click one button.
If I could transplant and like summon an abomination that like fully absorbs consumes all the minions that I just like placed out for it. Oh man. Oh,
you want transplant to summon an abomination from the minions that you just killed by transplanting on them.
Oh yeah, that'd be bring back Defile, add corpses on the ground, and now abomination summons from corpses, and I can just spawn a bunch of corpses, transplant, and I get an abomination. Boom, like 200k damage. That's all.
To me, Zekkar, it sounds like you are the One Punch Man of the Last Epoch community, but instead of one punch, it's one button for movement skill, not everything.
Yes.
I like it. All right. All right. So here's a question for you, and it's something that I was brainstorming while we were waiting for our technical delay before this podcast started. because we couldn't get a hold of someone. But so here's a question for you. What do you think in terms of the skills? What was the word I was using? Oh man, the signature skills that people get access to just for speccing into their mastery. I'm playing a build right now that's stacking mana and using devotion, and then like a hammered in smite kind of thing, just like throwing hammers around my head. And I'm using the stone carved testament, which is a unique relic that also happens to put down summon storm totem, which would normally otherwise just be the thing that you get for being a shaman, right? So it got me thinking, like, what are like the best and the worst signature skills that people have access to? It's like you're a new player, you become your mastery for the first time, and you get access to this flashy new skill. It's like, which one are you most excited about, and which one do you never even read?
Summon Wraith.
Or a little necromancer.
Yeah, I don't know. The best one. I'm trying to think what all the class specific skills are, or the mastery specific skills are. Best one. I don't know. I don't know what the best one would be. I know the worst one's probably like, I think it's Smelter's Wrath. Is that the Forge Guard one?
I have a list pulled up on my screen, but I don't know if I can share it.
I need a list.
I think it's Forge Strike.
Oh, okay, yeah, Forge Strike. I need a list because I don't know all the skills.
Wonder if I can send this to you real quick.
Send it over.
Oh,
I'll tell you this much, Perry. I know from my experience, I think Summon Wraith is the worst one, and the best one is probably Detonating Arrow for the marksman.
You think the worst one is Detonating Arrow?
No. The best one is Detonating Arrow. I think Summon Wraith is the worst, and Detonating Arrow is the best.
I just sent a little picture to you over on Discord.
Okay, best is Reaper form. Sorry.
Done.
Best is Reaper form. I'm jealous. I wish that was not a Lich specific skill. I wish I could use that. There's so many things I could do with Reaper form as a Necro, and when we had the generic class like tournaments where it was Lich versus Necros, completely unfair. Not even like ban Reaper form at that point. Like that was so unfair. Reaper form's insane. I love Reaper.
I kind of like the idea of Reaper form Necromancer. I could be into that.
Same.
Just like move Death Seal over, sure.
I think probably the worst one out of this, in my opinion, has to be Dancing Strikes. Dancing Strikes feels like a copy paste of what is it, like Tempest Strike. Like I don't like the not being able to like speed up the animation, being kind of like locked into this like.
Oh, interesting.
If I have a skill, I want it to evolve over time. Like I don't like a skill just like I'm gonna be doing the same thing almost throughout the whole period of the game. Like I like it changed. I don't feel like strikes.
Interesting. Okay, I thought you were gonna say like a copy paste of Riven from League of Legends or something, but you think Dancing Strikes is a copy paste of Tempest Strike?
Yeah, you use it for the procs. Like you don't ever use it for the skill itself. I don't think I've seen a Dancing Strikes build that's like, hey, I'm using it for dancing. You're using it for rhythm stacks. You're using it for arena or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think that Dancing Strikes is pretty black. That's just...
Interesting. I would have guessed like Holy Aura would be maybe like the best. I feel like whenever I get Holy Aura, like I immediately put it on my bar and I'm just like auto casting it for the rest of my life.
The thing with Holy Aura, like I like it that it's an auto cast, you get all these buffs from it, but I feel like some of the buffs are just so minimal. Like like a Holy Aura tree almost looks identical across every in my. So that's why it's kind of like
it kind of suffers from like Sigil of Hope syndrome, where the only thing it does is give you stats.
Yeah,
like it gives you like life, damage, resistance, blah. Like it doesn't change. I guess that's kind of a good point. What you were saying about Dancing Strikes as well. It doesn't change over time. It doesn't like become a different color. It doesn't give you something different. It's just like here's some more numbers for you to appreciate.
Yeah, I'm not very fond of that. Like I do like things that are passive. I do like things that I don't have to really worry about. Out of mind, out of sight, whatever. Like or out of sight, out of mind. But like at the same time, I do want it to do interesting. Like I would like it to somehow interact with my build differently than someone else. But to me, it's just like, hey, what's your Holy Aura? bro, what do you mean? We have the same one. Oh,
We got the same. Everyone
what?
has the same holy aura. It's like, hey, how did you spec your sigils of hope? It's like,
Yeah.
come
What do you
on.
mean?
It's like here's my build guide. And it's like it's like 90% the same as everything you've ever seen, and then
Yeah.
it also has a unique item in it.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Okay.
So that's kind of like my, I guess, gripes with those kind of skills. But I don't know. Maybe I think they're gonna change that. I don't think they like the design philosophy behind like Holy Aura and some other skills. I think
So, Zakar, since you like to play around with a bunch of stuff and try things out, what has been the worst thing that you have ever tried to put together and it just absolutely was terrible, did not work at all, none of the interactions you wanted to work the way you wanted them to work? What was the worst build you've ever put together so far?
I spent probably the same amount of time as you on, probably even more time on Infernal Shade, and I've done it for like, I did it like 3 patches back to back because everyone said it was shit, and I was like, there's no way this skill's that shit. And then Nair and Dread like pretty much convinced me to like spend 9 hours on it, and so I did. I spent 9 hours just straight messing with the skill in every possible way that I could think of, and now they roast me for it. They used to roast me for it so much because I'd be like, "There's no way that skill's bad," and then I tried it, and it was like it was actually pretty bad.
Oh, so it's not just me that got roasted for it. All right, cool. So we're both in the same boat together.
I got the Infernal Shade stack on me, and it burned, bro. Let me tell you, it burned.
I like the analogy.
The only cool thing I found was that there's a way, and I think it got patched, but there's a way to make it like cast instantly. So you just have like these like flashes of explosions like anywhere on the screen, and I forget what interaction, but you could essentially just sit there, cast it, explode all over your screen. And I think they patched, and I still couldn't find any of that because the explosion proc damage or whatever does negative. I don't know how things can have such high like damage effectiveness and do like absolutely zero. I don't understand it. I don't.
Where's my damage? Where are the numbers at?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
You had mentioned that you don't like skills that are, kind of static and they stay the same over a long period of time as you spec into them. You don't like skills that kind of prescribe to you what you're supposed to do, or like maybe they only give you numbers and that's it. What's the best skill tree out there? What's a skill that just like you look at it and you're like, man, I can't wait to poke around with this thing?
Best skill tree out there.
The best skill tree, yeah. Best maybe like best design skill.
Best design skill. Oh man, there's a lot of good skills out there.
As you ponder it, I'll give you some like low hanging fruit real quick. I remember in the past, I used to hear people talk about how much they liked detonating arrow, because like detonating arrow, you can like convert it to different elements. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can make it like one big shot. You can do like the sucker punch, like 2-shot combo. So like, there's a lot of different ways to spec it, as long as you still have tendrils, because like that's like the one thing that makes it really feel good. So detonating arrow was the answer that I've heard for a long time, but we've had a couple reworks, a couple new skills, some new masters, whatnot. What do you think?
Best skill. Design skill. I'm trying to think. I don't know what I would say. I'd have to design skill. I'm honestly probably gonna say Javelin, in my opinion, because I feel like it's used in so many different ways, and there's so many different builds with that skill. And as a throwing skill, it just has so much like, I don't know, variety in comparison to some of like the other throwing skills. Like even Umbral Blades, which is a newer one, I don't think it has as much variety. Like Javelin.
I'm so happy to hear you say Javelin, because like maybe my top 5 answers wouldn't have included it. So what can you do with Javelin? You can like holy trail damage over time. You can like crit. You can ailment. You can have it cast smite for you. You can movement skill. You can convert it. I guess it's kind of a lot.
You can do a lot with Javelin, yeah. Throw it as a battle set, like the battle standard flag, or whatever, and have a mob pick it up, and then have all these smite procs happen as it just like follows you along in monoliths. Like when I was messing with the skill, I for my electrify build, there were so many different avenues that I could take that I was kind of overwhelmed. I was like, I don't know which ones. So I just found one that I just thought was the most fun, or the one that I enjoyed the most. And I just didn't realize there was so much you could do with the skill, like making it trail, or making it the following flag that casts a spell for, using it as a utility skill for some melee builds. There's just so much you could do with it. I didn't think there would be that much like versatility in a throwing skill, all skill. That's surprising. So it does really do they did a really good job with designing that skill, I think, in comparison to a lot of. So I'm not sure if there's another skill that I probably wouldn't rank any of the necro skills as well designed at all. No, all of them are poorly designed. I think all of necro
just kind of
skills
old at this point.
Yeah,
they'll get
I'm
updated
sorry.
eventually.
Yeah, one day. And then mage, I never really liked mage. Like, I don't spellblade. No, I don't know. Yeah, I never really played primal. I've really only played necro and like acolyte and sentinel. And
Okay.
on acolyte it was necro. Like I never really. I have like maybe one like 1,600 hours. I don't think I've ever played much more.
I want to ask the same question to Grim, but I'm going to give my answer while I give Grim some time to ponder what his answer is going to be. So I think what my answer would be for like best design skill, right before this patch, I would have said Static Orb. I think the Static Orb rework is just like S tier in terms of what they've done with it, but they nerfed Static Orb Orbit, and they just made it like significantly worse. But one of the things that they also did when they nerfed Static Orb Orbit is they also removed like the yo-yo method out of the game. And it was like, I feel like it must have been an unintentional nerf, because the yo-yo, like you throw the Static Orb out and then it comes back to you. Like nobody did it. It was like not popular at all. It wasn't even particularly good, except that it looked really cool. And like it also got nerfed alongside the Orbit stuff, which was far and away the most popular way of playing Static Orb for like the last patch or so. And like we asked the devs about it, like, hey, did you also mean to nerf this? And they said, yeah. It's like, I'm not sure about that answer. But right before that nerf happened, I would have said Static Orb. I just feel like there's so many cool things that you could do with that skill. All right, Grim, I gave you 30 seconds. What do you got? Best design skill free.
Skill best designed. I've played so many terrible skills though in the Necromancer tree. I think the best design skill that I've played so far has honestly been gosh, now I can't even think of the name of it. Shadow Cascade, actually, with the Rogue, just because I like the way that you could dash and you could still proc it as you're still dashing through mobs and use Shadow Cascade. I thought Shadow Cascade was just a really neat skill, especially whenever you take into consideration that Last Epoch is a bit of a slower game than Path of Exile. And with Shadow Cascade being one of the rogue skills, it made it kind of have like that PoE-esque feel to it with the speed. And I think that was one of the things that I liked about playing that skill over any other skill so far, has just been playing with something for speed, and Shadow Cascade provided that with the ability to be able to shift and then proc it off of the shadows.
When you say that it was similar to Path of Exile, it is. It's really fast. It kind of makes me wonder why. Like, wasn't the point of Last Epoch to be a little bit slower than Path of Exile, a little bit faster than Grim Dawn? It's like, why does Shift proc everything? Why does my movement skill kill every monster in the past 2 screens behind me? Why is Zakkar's webcam turning off? Why anything? Why are these things happening? Well, we've lost Zakkar once again, so it is what it is. Oh man, playing in this past weekend's tournament has just been like something else altogether. Like this is the first time that I've ever played a Shadow Dagger build. It's the first time that I've ever actually really played a Blade Dancer at all. Because the Blade Dancers that I've played in the past, I guess there's only really been one, right? The Blade Dancer I played in the past was just the melee channeled flurry using ailments and whatnot. So the reason that I stayed away from Blade Dancer is like everything kind of felt the same. Like Every time I looked at a blade dancer build guide, it was like, here's some shadow daggers, here's shift, here's, you know, a billion crits, here's all the same gear, here's dual wielding smoke weavers, and like it all just really looked the same. It didn't look like there was much variety in it. So like, you know, once that got nerfed, once other builds started popping up, then I started looking into rogue builds as well. And I kind of feel bad that the one that I like the most so far is the Shadow Daggers. Shadow Daggers, Shadow Cascade, shifting around. It's no wonder that people check out Last Epoch for the first time. They check out that build, and it's like, damn, this build slaps. Like, it's so good. So, I don't know what I would tell somebody. Like, if that's your first build, like, where do you go from there? A new player comes to you and they say, like, hey, I played this so far. What should my second build be?
Infernal Shade.
No, definitely not Infernal Shade.
Gotta show them both sides of the, you know, like both the ends of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Infernal Shade is where it's at.
Honestly, maybe some Javelin Electrify Smite stuff. Like, that's nice and zoomy, but has a different feel altogether, right? Like the damage is happening in front of you instead of 2 screens behind you.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Something like that would be good. I still am waiting for a lunge damage build with Paranoia or whatever the new helm is. I'm sure someone will come up with one eventually. I have a feeling it's like I'm almost positive someone's gonna, like, one day someone's gonna figure it out. But I don't know who it's gonna be. Probably won't be me. I don't want to.
We could put money on Amarathi breaking it.
Yeah, that's my guess. Is Amarathi's gonna do it. So I'll leave it
well,
to him.
a month and a half into the patch, I can proudly say that I did find the lunge helmet. So good. I'm glad that it's not too rare.
Perry has been looking for a new build to sink his teeth in. I'm thinking lunge build.
At the request of somebody in Twitch chat, I've started playing a Devotion Hammer Smite character, and it is some of the highest damage I've ever had from like level 71 to like 85 or so. It is. Yeah. My Devotion Amulet. So the reason I'm playing the build is I have a 2 LP Devotion Amulet that has spell damage crit multi on it, which is pretty good for a Devotion Amulet. But in terms of the amount of adaptive damage that I get from it, like I'm using a wand right now. My wand's got, you know, 55 adaptive on it. My amulet gives me another 120. So I have a staff on my amulet. It's like, that's pretty good. That's not bad at all.
Oh
I'm excited to see how this build turns out. I can't wait to die to something stupid. It'll be great.
No, it won't happen. Sounds
like not this time. No way.
You're gonna kill everything before it kills you. I can just feel it.
So I gotta ask you this, Perry. Is this a mana stacking build too?
I have attunement. I have mana. Yeah, I got a couple stats here and there. So like just having attunement and mana, having relevant prefixes for your gear is nice, because normally on a build like a hammer smite thing, your damaging prefix of choice is armor shred effect, which is nice, but like it's really not much compared to like what other builds get access to for their prefixes. So having like attunement and mana as a way of stacking damage, and getting to use, like I toggled it on and off just to look at how much mana it was giving me. I'm using the Stone Carved Testament, which gives you, you know, summon Storm Totem for some reason as well. But this thing has like, you know, 80, 86, 95 mana on it, and it also has attunement, and it also has lightning damage. It also has lightning penetration. Like, this thing's pretty good. It is like, it's giving me, you know, 120 mana or so, which is like huge. It's a lot of mana in this game.
Be pretty nice. I think the only way I'd use that on like my Electrify build would be if I had like a legendary, so I could get some plus skills, because I think Javelin and Smite plus the skills are on relics. It's like, so
now
so
don't tell anybody, but I'm actually planning on using the Stone Carved Testament when the Shaman tournament comes. I'm gonna play a Shaman Spriggan form build with the Stone Carved Testament in order to use Storm Totem while I'm in Spriggan form. Get like more totems going off. Don't tell anybody about that, okay? But that's some secret technology that I got coming in the future.
Try not to tell anyone.
Interesting.
For the 90 or so whatever people that are watching and
a playable Shaman build. Well, I'll do my best, okay?
I expect you to win.
We'll see. Listen, if the best build for Shaman isn't just like human form EQ spell, like spell EQ, like I'll eat my hat. Like there's no way that's not the best Shaman build. It's boring, but like, come on.
I think Mao's gonna be playing that.
Uh,
He loves ZQ.
All right. Well, I think we're just about at the top of the hour, and by top of the hour, I mean a quarter past, because we had a couple technical difficulties before the podcast started today. But Zakkar, thanks for being here. I appreciate that.
Of course, yeah.
Glad that we could sneak you onto the podcast and learn about what's been going on in your life and how you've been playing some last Epoch.
All right, guys. Good. From all of us here at Last Week Epoch, that's going to do it for us. And just like Perry said, thank you, Zakkar, for being here. Appreciate having you on. This has been a long time coming, concerning the fact that I asked you like months ago to be on the podcast. So I'm glad to finally get you on, bro.
Hey, sorry, hard to get.
Yeah, man, it's so good.
Thank you, guys. It was awesome. I really enjoyed being here. This is amazing.
Not a problem, man. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.